Now we are going to discuss the malignant tumors of the vagina. Before discussing that, first I'll talk about vaginal intraepithelial neoplasia. The lesion is relatively rare when compared with the incidence of cervical squamous intraepithelial lesions. It usually occurs in postmenopausal women. It is frequently associated with squamous cell carcinoma of cervix or vulva. Risk factors are human papilloma virus infection and cervical or vulvar intraepithelial neoplasia, mostly asymptomatic. Less than 10% progress to invasive carcinoma, treated with laser ablation and topical 5-fluorouracil. Gross appearances: there is roughened pink or white discolored epithelium. The gross abnormality is occasional. Histological features: vaginal intraepithelial neoplasia 1, the nuclear pleomorphism and hyperchromasia involving the lower third of the epithelium. There is increased mitotic activity in the lower third of the epithelium. The flat condylomata acuminata are best classified as vein 1. Vaginal intraepithelial neoplasia 2 and 3, which are high grade. Nuclear pleomorphism and hyperchromasia involving the lower 2/3 or full thickness of the epithelium. Binucleate and multinucleate cells are also seen. Atypical mitotic figures can be identified. Chyliocytosis may be seen within or adjacent to the lesion. Immunohistochemistry P16INK4A positive. Now this is the photograph which shows microscopic features of vaginal intraepithelial neoplasia 3, in which the entire thickness of the epithelium showing dysplastic changes. Now, infiltrating squamous cell carcinoma of vagina. It's a malignant tumor. Although rare, it is the most common malignant vaginal neoplasm. When comparing the incidence of cervical squamous cell carcinoma, its incidence is very low. Most commonly present in the postmenopausal women, those tumors which are less than 3 mm in depth regarding stromal invasion, and also verrucous carcinoma, they have low rates of lymph node metastasis. The verrucous carcinomas should not be treated with radiation therapy because they are resistant to radiation therapy and may transform to high-grade squamous cell carcinoma. Gross appearances: superficially invasive carcinoma. The lesion is red papule, white plaque, or irregular ulcerated lesion. Invasive carcinoma: exophytic papillary mass or endophytic ulcer, which is usually solitary. Microscopic features: it is a keratinizing lesion with the formation of keratin pearls. The superficially invasive tumor is defined as 3 mm or less depth of invasion without vascular invasion. There are syncytial sheets of cells with variable amount of eosinophilic cytoplasm. There are distinct cell borders. Intercellular bridges can be seen. Variants of squamous cell carcinoma of vulva: verrucous carcinoma. It is a rare variant. The bulbous solid masses composed of bland squamous cells that push into the stroma. The chyliocytes are occasionally present. Lymph node metastases are uncommon. Warty or condylomatous carcinoma. It is the squamous cell carcinoma with numerous chyliocytes. The growth is exophytic. Now this is the photograph which shows microscopic features of invasive or infiltrating squamous cell carcinoma of the vagina. Letter K shows formation of keratin pearls. There is invasion of the neoplastic cells in the stroma, and letter I shows the presence of inflammatory cellular infiltrate. Now we are going to discuss clear cell adenocarcinoma of vagina. It is often but not always associated with in utero exposure to diethyl stilbestrol. It occurs in less than 0.2% of women exposed to stilbestrol. It is generally seen in women around 20 years of age. The patient presents with vaginal bleeding and discharge. It may be asymptomatic. It is associated with in utero exposure to diethylstilbestrol. Adenosis is believed to be a precursor lesion. The risk for nodal metastasis is increased if depth of invasion is greater than 3 mm. It is more aggressive than squamous cell carcinoma. The treatment of early stage of disease is vaginectomy with radical hysterectomy and lymphadenectomy to prevent recurrence. The radiation therapy is indicated for advanced disease. Gross appearances, it occurs anywhere in the vagina. It presents as polypoid or nodular mass. It is less commonly flat or ulcerated. Microscopic features, the most common patterns are tubulocystic or solid, but papillary, tubular, and trabecular pattern can also be seen. The tumor cells are polyhedral with round atypical nuclei and clear cytoplasm containing glycogen. The hobnail cell is a characteristic finding, which means the cell with a nucleus that protrudes beyond the boundaries of the cell into a luminal, tubular, or cystic space. Uncommonly, the epithelial cells are flattened, cuboidal, oxyphilic, or signet ring type. Adenosis is usually present adjacent to the tumor. Presence of intracellular hyaline structures and smoma bodies are common. Immunohistochemistry, cytokeratin positive, PES positive due to intracytoplasmic glycogen, PES with diacetase negative, mucin negative, intracytoplasmic, but may be positive in glandular lumina. Now this is the photograph which shows microscopic features of clear cell adenocarcinoma with a papillary pattern. The papillae are lined by large pleomorphic cells shown by P, and there is hobnail appearance of nuclei which are protruding into the lumen marked with H, and there are areas of necrosis marked with N. Now we are going to discuss a very important tumor which is rhabdomyosarcoma, also called sarcoma botryoides. It is the most common vaginal sarcoma seen in infants and girls younger than 5 years. It is an aggressive tumor. It presents clinically as a mass of small translucent nodules protruding from the vagina. It may present with bleeding and discharge and extension to urinary bladder and rectum. Metastasis to lung or bone usually seen in the later course of the disease. It is an aggressive tumor with rapid local invasion and high rate of local recurrence. The survival has been significantly improved by treatment plan of surgical excision, that is vaginectomy plus hysterectomy with sparing of urinary bladder and rectum, followed by chemotherapeutic regimes. Gross appearances, the classic appearance is a sessile or pedunculated tumor of numerous translucent grape-like polypoid masses. There are areas of hemorrhages. The most common location is the anterior vaginal wall. Microscopic features, the tumor is organized histologically in layers. There is a superficial attenuated layer of squamous epithelium. Beneath this, there is a cambium layer composed of small, round to spindle-shaped primitive blue cells with dense hyperchromatic nuclei and minimal cytoplasm. These cells may invade the overlying epithelium. Then there is a sparsely cellular region with scattered small round blue cells as seen above, present in the oedematous or myxoid stroma. Rhabdomyoblasts are found in this region. They are large, irregular, elongated or strap cells with prominent eosinophilic cytoplasm. Cross striations may be seen, but they are not required for diagnosis. The cells may appear to condense around blood vessels. Mitotic activity is brisk. There is absence of heterogeneous elements like the presence of bone or cartilage. Immunohistochemistry, desmin and muscle-specific actin MSA positive. Myoglobulin, it is more specific but less sensitive than above stains and may be negative. Vimentin positive in small and large tumor cells. Cytokeratin negative but positive in benign overlying layer of attenuated epithelium. Now, this is the photograph showing gross appearance of rhabdomyosarcoma, in which there are sessile grayish-white polypoidal masses. Now, this photograph shows microscopic features of rhabdomyosarcoma. You can well appreciate on the left side there is a lining of stratified squamous epithelium, and beneath this there is densely distributed round blue cells with hyperchromatic nuclei and scanty cytoplasm, or they may be spindle shaped, and they are distributed along the stratified squamous epithelium, forming a cambium layer, and at places they are infiltrating the above stratified squamous epithelium. Now, on the other side, there are rhabdomyoblasts or strap cells which are marked with black arrows. These cells are elongated, highly eosinophilic, and are distributed along with small round blue cells in the myxoid stroma having eosinophilic cytoplasm.